Gainesville. It's the Martha Zoller Show. Talking the issues and filling in for Martha, it's Dr. Tom Smiley on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
Well. Good morning, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, men and women. I believe that covers everyone. So happy to have you on the Martha Zoller Show. I am Tom Smiley filling in for Martha. And I want to remind you that Martha sent us a note. And Martha says, on Thursday, I had a heart attack. Thankfully, I was at church when this happened. Thank you to my church and the fantastic paramedics of the Hall County Fire Department and the team at NGHS. I'm going home with a lot of work to do. Thankfully, we live in this community. There are too many people to thank right now. You know who you are. Thank you. I will see you soon. All right. Well, thank you, Martha. And she's doing well. Talk to her, and she's well. She's just making great progress, and she should be back Monday. And I look forward to having her back on the air. So many people miss her. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope I have not overpromised and will underdeliver, because I want to do this first segment on the transgender hoax. Now, I've been on the forefront of this discussion since at least 2000, since about 2021 or 22. I remember bringing it to your attention then via the airwaves. And over the years, I've received some complaints, some ridicule, and some hatred, some ugly mail. But fear not, I have been consistent in telling you the truth about the transgender hoax. Well, today, I want to revisit that because there is a piece out today by Liz Peek. And she talks about how this fever, the transgender fever, has finally subsided. It looks like we have cured the fever of this transgenderism, this transgender hoax. And I'm going to go back, build this up, show you what we talked about, give you some good proof, and hopefully will inform you. So that's coming right now. I'm telling you, I'm ready to jump into it. But before we do that, we have to go to our children because they are waiting patiently.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, children. Thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, do you remember several years ago, I shared with you a news story out of Glendale, California. And it was a story about a 25-year veteran middle school teacher who happens to be a gay man. And he went before the Board of Education in his community wearing a T-shirt that read, "Make biology great again." And as he began to talk to the school board and to the others that were present, he said, and I quote, these are his words, 2 + 2 = 4. The world is not flat. Boys have boy parts, girls have girl parts. Gender is binary and cannot be changed. Biology is not bigotry. Heterosexuality is not hate. Gender confusion and gender delusion are deep psychological disorders. He went on to say, no caring professional or loving parent would ever support the chemical poisoning or the surgical mutilation of a child's body parts. Transgender ideology is anti-gay, it's anti-woman, it's anti-human. It wants to take away women's sports, women's rights, women's achievements. And about that time, the microphone went dead. That's right. They pulled the plug on this 5th grade school teacher from California, simply for teaching and telling the truth about the transgender hoax. I shared that story with you. I've shared it several times. I think I was one of the first on the airwaves to actually share this story. And as I said, I received some criticism, some complaint, but nonetheless, I had to hold true to my convictions and my principles. Now, prior to that story being shared with you several years ago, in 2023, I shared with you over these airwaves, 2023, I shared with you over these airwaves some information from an imprimis from the Hillsdale School. And in this particular pamphlet, dated 2023, September, that's why I know it was 2023, because I remember reading it to you then. I talked about the transgender hoax, and I asked the question, as did this article from Hillsdale College, how did this transgender movement go from the fringes of our culture to the mainstream? How did it happen? And I shared with you that the truth of it, the way it happened, the reason it happened was because massive amount of money was just poured in to this hoax fad movement. And it was started by a person, a male, who transitioned to a female, who happened to have come into a lot of money from his mama and his daddy. And he began to throw his millions and millions and millions of dollars around, celebrating male to female gender transition, celebrating the fact that he was perhaps the first trans billionaire. And he began to donate untold millions. Now hang on, there's some more to this story. You don't want to miss it. He began to infuse money into hospitals and activist organizations to promote queer theory and transgender medical experience. That's what he was doing with his money. And it wasn't without political alignment either. He had a cousin who was a governor, who is a governor. You want to know his name? Might be the Democratic nominee coming up in 2028. Pritzker. That's this man's cousin. And his cousin gave to Governor Pritzker all kinds of money into his campaign, into his war chest, and his cousin, the governor, rewarded his cousin, the trans, with all kinds of policies and programs supporting this fake, fad, hoax, evil ideology. As a matter of fact, the governor began to direct state education curriculum and state Medicare funds toward transgender surgery and hormone treatments. That's right. This was a well-funded activism and political influence. You can check it out for yourself. They began to pour money into local schools, providing training material, personal material to promote gender transition for children, using hospitals' reputation to give their ideology scientific veneer. That's the truth about the transgender hoax. That's how it got started, and I was one of the first to share this with you back in 2023. Now, fast forward to today. 9/14/53 on Tuesday, 2026. I'm looking at an article from Liz Peek, and she is speaking about how this transition fever appears to be over. America is finally recognizing the damage done to children in regards to the transgender hoax with mutilation of body parts and with hormone treatments that are just ghastly. And I'm going to share with you more about her article and some actual sound, some actual audio from a detransitioner, a young girl who transitioned to a boy and who later changed her mind and is becoming back to what she was made by God, a girl, a female. And she actually is in the middle of a lawsuit now, suing the medical professionals and the counselors for millions of dollars for their ill treatment. You want to hear it? Well, stay tuned. I have it for you in just a moment. We'll be right back. You're listening to Tom Smiley on the Martha Zoller Show. Call a friend. I'm not done yet. We'll be right back.
WDUN's back on the court with our high school basketball game of the week. Gainesville plays host to Johns Creek. We tip our coverage tonight at 5:50 on North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
This might be the best match you'll make all year. It's the Tax Match event at Krause Family Hyundai of Gainesville. We'll match your tax refund or down payment up to $3,000 when you buy a new Hyundai. So if you have $3,000, you end up with $6,000 toward a new Hyundai like the 2026 Palisade. Plus, you get America's best warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty, and Hyundai Assurance. Find your match before it ends. Get to Krause Family Hyundai on Atlanta Highway off I-985 in Gainesville or visit KrauseFamilyHyundai.com for full details.
Waste Eliminator is a full-service waste management company providing critical disposal, recycling, and environmental solutions for business and residential clients. From large-scale commercial projects to smaller residential cleanups, Waste Eliminator offers reliable dumpster rental service tailored to your needs. Whether you're tackling a renovation, new construction, or even a simple home cleanout, Waste Eliminator will manage the waste efficiently and sustainably. Visit online at wasteeliminator.com.
You already know Gainesville Mechanical for their award-winning HVAC service, but did you know they handle plumbing too? Because plumbing problems never happen at a good time, you need a trusted, experienced team there when they do. From small leaks to major repairs, Gainesville Mechanical is here for you with 24/7 no overtime rates through their customer assurance maintenance plan. Proud to be named Best of Hall for HVAC and plumbing, Gainesville Mechanical and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep North Georgia cool since 1989.
This President's Day, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Ben Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G coverage. What? Franklin wasn't even a president. Hang on to those Benjamins. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, to switch to an American wireless company that's truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZQL Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZQL Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, more time is needed before Hall County residents get a chance to vote on allowing package sales of liquor in unincorporated Hall County. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Tom Smiley filling in for Martha today. I'm going to take the first segment of our show to talk about the transgender hoax. Later on in the week, I'm going to talk about the climate change hoax. We're going to talk about that. We're going to address some of these hoax and fads that somebody needs to tell the truth about. Now, I don't want to pat myself on the back too much. I'm just simply a fill-in host. I'm not even a regular. I'm just a fill-in host. But maybe I should get a fill-in host award for cutting-edge commentary and analysis, because I've been talking about this well before 2022-21, the transgenderism. I hope you're listening. As a matter of fact, I was also one of the very first ones to introduce to you this little tune by Mr. Rogers.
Boys are boys from the beginning. Girls are girls right from the start. Everybody's fancy, everybody's fine. Your body's fancy, and so is mine. Only girls can be the mummies. Only boys can grow up and be the daddies. Yes, sir. Everybody's fancy, everybody's fine. Your body's fancy, and so is mine.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers, for telling the truth, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, however long, years ago. Well, according to Liz Peek, I'm reading an opinion piece, and she is saying the transgender fever, the trans fever is over. America is reckoning with the damage done, and it has been a lot of damage. But all it took to get this trans fever cured, to get it abated, all it took was a president with the guts to call out the evil being done to children across America. Now, I know many of you listening don't particularly like Donald Trump. I get it. But what you don't understand is if you don't have Donald Trump, you have Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and you have more of this trash and junk and evil. So maybe you can get by the tweets and the attitude and the narcissism and focus on the policies of this president, because this president had the guts to stand up against the evil that was being done to children, to minors. It took a president and also took a couple of lawsuits and some settlements to finally wake up this culture when it comes to the transgender hoax. President Trump defied the woke police. I think about the criticism that I've received from my comment and commentary on this. It doesn't even compare to what I'm sure he's received. You might remember that President Trump, in this first few weeks of office, he issued a number of executive orders to reset this gender hoax that was perpetrated upon our country. He declared no longer were agencies going to acknowledge anything but two sexes. There's just two genders. That's what the president said, male and female. No more passports marking an X. No more biological men locked up in women's prisons. Trump demanded that the schools stop publishing gender ideology in their curriculums. No more books like, Aiden Became a Brother, targeting 4-year-olds. Trump challenged the granddaddy trans issues as well by declaring the policy of the United States is to oppose male competition in women's sports. These are the kind of things that President Trump, I get some of you don't like Trump. I get it. I get you don't like his tweaks. You don't like his narcissism. I get it. But if you didn't have him, you'd have Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and you'd have more of this evil and junk perpetrated upon our children. But perhaps more important to anything else the president did to help abate this fever, this transgender fever, to cool it off, perhaps more than anything else he did, was that he declared the government would not fund or support children transitioning from one sex to another. Do you know an estimated 4,000 children between 12 and 18 have endured trans surgeries over the past 4 years? While many countries like Europe and other places moved away from such things, calling them experimental, saying there's no evidence to support the validity. People talk all the time about, we should be more like Europe. We should be more like this. We should be more like that. Well, when it comes to this particular topic, nobody was interested. Europe tried to tell us. In 2023, I shared with you a report, I'm looking at it, where there were studies that suggested if you just leave children alone, they'll grow out of their gender confusion. In many cases, not all, but in many cases. I said that back in 2000. You heard me say it. I was right then, I'm right now. Why did American doctors not want to investigate these studies and all this evidence? You know why? It's the money. Follow the money. All the money. It's a shameful, shameful chapter in America medicine, in my opinion. And it's finally, I hope, coming to a close. And I hope that the tsunami of lawsuits will continue. And I hope doctors and parents and educators who have ruined the lives of minors will be held accountable. There's no excuse. This transgender craze, this transgender hoax is very much just that, a hoax.
American Society of Plastic Surgeons sounding the alarm over the rise of surgeries for trans youth, urging doctors to delay transition procedures until patients are at least 19 years old. One study reveals almost 4,000 kids ages 12 to 18 have received trans-related surgeries in a 4-year span. We're going to bring in Chloe Cole, who feels she was misguided while deciding to transition at just 13 years old. Chloe, I've interviewed you over the years. I'm really impressed by you and your bravery. You just won this lawsuit for $2 million. I want to know how you feel about that and what you think will happen as a result of it.
Thank you so much for having me back. So that lawsuit actually was not my own. It was the lawsuit of Fox Varian, which it was a bit of an unexpected success considering how low profile the case was, and it wasn't even revealed to the public until the verdict happened. And it's set a massive precedent. The last week has just been an incredible way to start off the month, and perhaps one of the most successful of this movement against this mutilation so far, because we finally have organizational backing on this idea that these procedures are, especially the surgeries, are harmful for kids. And we now have a legal precedent as well for attorneys to look to when they're helping detransition patients get legal justice. And it's been a rough few years for us detransitioners in not only getting health care, but also in seeking justice legally after the fact. And
That's exactly right. And I've got to go a little further than the first segment. So when we come back from the break, I've got to conclude this. Did you hear what she said? These people who were so concerned about the children, now don't want to help the children detransition. They're ostracizing them, criticizing them. Gender confusion and delusion are deep psychological disorders, folks. That's the truth. I'll be right back. You're listening to Tom Smiley on The Martha Zoller Show.
Serving on a nonprofit board is a great way to have a positive impact on our community. United Way of Hall County is helping leaders maximize that impact with their annual Board 101. It teaches the fundamentals of board service, helping to make your service more effective. This series of 3 workshops takes place February 24th, March 3rd, and March 10th from 5:30 until 7 each evening. For more details and to register for Board 101, head to unitedwayhallcounty.org and help build a better community.
The countdown to lawn care season has begun, and you don't want to be unprepared when it gets here. You need to get geared up for spring during Howard Brothers' annual Gear Up Day, happening on Wednesday, March 4th. It's their biggest sale of the year and the perfect time to get everything you need to get those lawn projects started. Parts, blades, steel, Echo, Exmark, all the equipment and all the tools found at your one-stop shop. Visit any Howard Brothers on March 4th and gear up.
This is Grant Nichols, and at Loretta's Country Kitchen, we know life can really pile up. There's work, getting the kids to practice, shopping. With all that, the week can really wear you out. The last thing you want to do is spend Saturday in the kitchen. Not to worry, we have you covered with Saturday lunch at Loretta's. That's right, not only are we open for breakfast on Saturdays, we're also serving up lunch from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. Give your kitchen and your family a break with Saturday lunch at Loretta's Country Kitchen, Mundy Mow Road, Oakwood, where it's all good.
Get breaking news fast. Sign up at accesswdun.com for breaking news alerts via text. Log on to accesswdun.com for details and to sign up. You can also sign up to receive local weather and sports alerts. Get the news first with breaking news text alerts from Access WDUN and North Georgia's News Talk. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 9:30. News, I'm Therese Crowley. After the ransom deadline, this statement, the FBI is not aware of any continued communication between the Guthrie family and the suspected kidnappers of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. Taken from her Tucson home 10 days ago, daughter Savannah posted another appeal to the public for information at an hour of desperation.
We believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers, and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place.
It is Fox's understanding that no ransom was paid. The FBI says, nor have we identified a suspect or person of interest, with missing persons billboards of Nancy going up across the Southwest. The House holds a showdown over immigration enforcement and use of force, with Democrats holding up Homeland Security funding. And Vermonter Ben Ogden wins an Olympic silver medal in cross-country skiing, the first medal for the U.S. in 50 years in that sport. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. A plane makes an emergency landing on the west side of Gainesville Monday afternoon. The single-engine plane landed on Brownsbridge Road near Pearl Nicks Parkway just after 12 noon. And one of the pilots, Thomas Rogers, says that it lost one of its engines shortly after taking off from Lee Gilmer Memorial Airport.
Tried to glide back, did everything by the book, but realized we weren't going to make it back with how far out we were. So, came down the road.
Plane hit 3 vehicles and 3 people were hurt, but no fatalities were reported. Gainesville officials blocked a portion of Main Street following a Monday afternoon truck wreck near a parking deck near the library. No word from Gainesville police as of last report on just what led to the crash of a flatbed Isuzu landscaping truck after 2 p.m., and no word of injuries reported. And Hall County School District provides updates on 3 ongoing renovation projects to 3 schools in the system. Johnson High School as well as North Hall High School are having undergoing renovations for their expansion to facilities on campus, while World Language Academy's primary campus is being completely reconstructed. Full updates on the 3 schools, as well as more news, can all be found by going to Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN forecast from meteorologist Holly Strano.
Good Tuesday morning to you, North Georgia. It's a mix of clouds and sunshine, which will be followed by increasing clouds. Low 70s this afternoon, warm. Cloudy skies, occasional rain showers, upper 50s by early Wednesday. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Swanee, some sun and clouds and 49 degrees. In Tallulah Falls, 46 degrees. And in Gainesville, 48 degrees. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
What if my parents suddenly need help? This is Kevin Tharp, elder law and estate planning attorney, and I've helped many people in your situation. With sound advice and planning, there's no reason why you can't help your loved ones as they need extended care late in life. It's up to you, however, to make the first call. Visit my website at kevintharp.com and learn how to get help planning for your family's future.
Are you frustrated with your contacts? Have your glasses become more of a burden? Well, don't suffer. Hi, this is Kim. Here at Advanced Eye Center, we offer all laser LASIK to free your eyes. When you consider not only the amount of money you pay for all of that eye gear, but also the amount of time you spend handling contacts, glasses, cases, solution, and eye drops, how can you not afford to have LASIK? Invest in you. Save your money, save your time at Advanced Eye Center. Vision correction for all ages.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
I'm so very happy to be with you today. I am Tom Smiley filling in for Martha. I'm telling you what, you ought to be sure to go on the website here at WDUN, pick up this particular program in this first segment about the transgender hoax and play it to for your friends and your children and your grandchildren, because what I'm telling you today is the truth. That's right. I have to admit, it's hard for me not to be a little, because I'll tell you, I feel vindicated today, because way back in 2021, 2022, I began to talk to you about this hoax. And it received a lot of criticism and complaint and ridicule, but I held to my principles. You see, that's what happens when you operate out of a particular worldview that you're consistent with. See, I am consistent in my worldview, my biblical worldview. So I don't have to remember what I said 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ago, because what I say is consistent to my biblical worldview. And that's why I knew this hoax would eventually find its ruination, because it isn't accurate. It's a fad. It's a hoax, and it's been proven to be that. Here's some more of the audio from the young girl who, around 12 or 13, transitioned to a boy, and who now later has realized that was a tremendous mistake. She's trying to undo it, put the genie back in the bottle, and she's talking about that today. Listen to this.
And now there is finally a case to look to, and it's essentially a universal experience for us to not only be doxxed, physically threatened, and to be shamed by the transgender community for speaking up about detransitioning, but also to feel as though there's no way out for us. So this gives me a lot of hope moving forward for my own case moving forward with Center for American Liberty against Kaiser. And I think that these lawsuits are going to flood through the court system and make it so that these doctors realize that there is a huge liability of these procedures and give them no other sane choice but to stop doing this to children.
Yeah, I love that you brought up what you faced when you transitioned. It's not just that, you're making this decision to go back to who you actually were as a woman, as a girl, but that you were doxxed and you were harassed by, and this goes for all of them, by the trans community who didn't want people to have a choice to go back to who they were. Let's talk a little bit about, at 12 years old is when you told your parents. If you could go back, knowing your parents, knowing now what they know, what do you think should happen when a parent hears from a child, hey, I think I'm another gender? What should happen in that moment?
Many parents, including my mom and dad at the time, will naturally tend to think, okay, so this is very obviously a mental health issue, which they are right about. And the decision that they'll naturally tend to make next will be sending them to a psychologist to help them sort of figure out where these feelings come from. But unfortunately, we live in a day and age where that actually is the risky choice, because the current medical recommendation is that these children, whenever they see any doctor, whether they're a physician or just a psychologist, they're inevitably going to be pushed down the route of permanent mutilation.
That's right. And that's because they're told that if you don't do this, that you're going to commit suicide. And no parent wants that. So there's a lot of intimidation. Obviously, this is an ideology-driven fever that took over. And thanks to you, your courage, and other detransitioners, that fever is breaking.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is critical for you to understand. I mean, I'm so appreciative that I have the opportunity to bring this to the airwaves. I don't know who else is talking about this. But I'm telling you, what I am telling you is the truth. Did you also hear that the movement, the transgender hoax movement, now is putting their force and their complaint on these who are transitioning? I thought they were for the children. Now they're not for the children, because some of the children are beginning to see this was a mistake. I was misled, and I want out. And the very same people who helped them make the mistake are now penalizing them, ostracizing them, ridiculing them. I thought they were for the children. A bunch of lunatic hoax. That's what I'm telling you. These are evil people who perpetrate this upon children. The gay 5th grade school teacher from Glendale, California is right when he said gender confusion and gender delusion are deep psychological disorders. No loving parent, no caring professional would support the chemical poisoning and surgical mutilation of a child's body parts. That man spoke truth then. All right, we'll catch a phone call on this topic from Tom and Lula. Welcome to the Martha Zoller Show.
Hey, Tom, I got 5 things, so I'm going to run through them quickly. First of all, can you think of a more a worse example of toxic masculinity than a forward on the volleyball team that's a dude wearing a training bra spiking that volleyball in the face of an actual female across the other side of the net.
No.
Second, number 26 on the document in the congressional record, 45 goals of the Communist Party to destroy America from within. Number 26 is all about all the weird sex garbage. Read it. Okay, number 3. These people, like you just said, they don't love these children. They're in it for the money and the power. And there's a movie scene in my head where 5,000 to 10,000 pastors are in the Los Diablos Dodgers Stadium, and right at the 7th inning stretch, an airplane with a sign behind it flies overhead and says, "Let the exorcism begin." And they all stand up and start. And finally, you want to go to Disney World with me, Tom? And we'll put on, nylon windbreaker, nylon ripstop windbreakers. And when we find Mickey Mouse, we'll surround him, or we'll go to the Small World exhibit and go, "We change boys into girls, we change gals into men. If we don't get it right, we will try again. So if God got it wrong, we'll just chop off our ding-dong in this mad, mad, mad trans world." Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. All right, I'm going to close out my segment on the transgender hoax, and I've got a great new segment coming your way with Dr. Douglas Young. We're going to talk about what the protesters in Minneapolis could be learning from Martin Luther King if they were to pay attention. That's coming up in a minute or two. But before I do that, I want to close out with this audio because, you see, this is what you have to do. This is an average man, an ordinary citizen who went to his school board to confront them with this transgender hoax and ideology they were placing in the school system. He had the courage to stand up and to speak truth. He was ostracized, ridiculed, he was criticized, but this man stood up. And this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to go to the school board meetings. You're going to have to go to your superintendents. You're going to have to go to the principals and the teachers. And you're going to have to stand up against this kind of trash. This transgenderism that we're seeing invade our culture that we hope now is abating. We're hoping that it's tempering down, tapping it down. But it's going to take people like you. It's going to take people like you to have the courage to stand up to the ridicule. Listen, let me tell you something. There are people all over this world who are standing up against a raised fist in their face. The least you could do is to stand up against a raised eyebrow. Listen to this.
I'm responding to board member comments from the November 17th meeting. Rob Johnson says that the most important thing we can do for our children is to realize who they are and who they want to be. I disagree. The most important thing you can do for other people's children is to teach them basic reading skills and enough math to keep them from drowning in consumer debt. Moreover, a girl who identifies as a boy doesn't realize who she is, since objectively a girl can't be a boy. I won't affirm her delusions for the same reason I won't affirm an anorexic girl's belief that she's obese. Christina Darling insists that trans children do exist, but saying something emphatically doesn't make it true. I defy her or any board member to define gender identity without circular reasoning or stereotypes. She calls our comments insulting to the professionals. It's not enough to insult them. I want to see them prosecuted for these Mengele experiments. She imagines that the transition process involves parents, medical professionals, multiple evaluations, ongoing oversight, and that it is not an overnight decision that someone makes and the parents are involved in that. Wrong. There's no evaluation to determine whether a child is transgender. A 16-year-old girl can schedule an appointment to Planned Parenthood and get testosterone on her first visit. Boston Children's Hospital requires only a 2-hour interview for medical interventions. True, clinicians will involve parents, but only if they're on board. If not, providers will blackmail them by saying their kids will kill themselves if they don't play along. If parents object that their children have emotional disorders or autism, conditions that virtually every one of these children has, clinicians will accuse them of ableism and claim that their distress is caused by unaffirmed gender identities. If parents still won't cave, they'll plot to put their children on hormones the moment they turn 18. Doctors won't have a clue how to help them down the road with medical harm, since no one has conducted a long-term study of the health effects. There's no such thing as a trans child. Please stop grooming troubled children for medical harm with your flags, displays, and worse, your safe spaces. I close with a quote from Mr. Rogers. Boys are boys from the beginning. Girls are girls right from the start. Everybody's fancy. Everybody's fine. Your body's fancy and so is mine. Only girls can be the mommies. Only boys can be the daddies. Everybody's fancy. Everybody's fine.
And you can check it. You can find it. Find this piece of the program. Logan, are these recorded or are shows recorded?
Yep, all these shows are recorded live, so you can go back and watch the full show on our YouTube or Facebook page, whichever you prefer.
So go back, look at it today, look at this first segment, listen to it carefully, share it with a friend, because everything I've told you today about the transgender hoax, everything you've heard today about the transgender hoax, ladies and gentlemen, is accurate. It's accurate. And I promise to always tell you the truth, and I'll continue to do that. All right, we've got a special guest coming into our studio, my dear friend. I love this man dearly. He's become quite a friend. Dr. Douglas Young, Professor Emeritus. He's so well-versed in so many topics. But I want him to come today, and he's going to talk specifically about an article that he recently published. It's been picked up by many, many people. It's a very good article, and it's entitled Anti-ICE Protesters Should Learn from Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement. This is absolutely genius, the way he's framed this. And he's going to be in studio to talk to us about this very article. Call a friend. This is going to be good. We'll be right back. I'm Tom Smiley, filling in for Martha.
NASCAR action from Daytona continues with the United Rentals 300. Coverage of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series kicks off Saturday at 4:30 on North Georgia's home of NASCAR, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
You already know Gainesville Mechanical for their award-winning HVAC service, but did you know they handle plumbing too? Because plumbing problems never happen in a good time, you need a trusted, experienced team there when they do. From small leaks to major repairs, Gainesville Mechanical is here for you with 24/7 no overtime rates through their Customer Assurance Maintenance Plan. Proud to be named Best of Hall for HVAC and Plumbing, Gainesville Mechanical and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep North Georgia cool since 1989.
You've got meals to plan, children to ferry from practice to ball games, shopping and dusting, and good grief. Give yourself a break and take your laundry to Townview Coin Laundry. Take your comforters, quilts, blankets, and mattress covers. They'll wash, dry, and fold your laundry, or you can use their industrial-sized machines. Townview Coin Laundry saves wear and tear on your washer and dryer and on you too. Get the stains out at Townview Coin Laundry at the corner of Bradford Street and College Avenue in downtown Gainesville, open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Hey, Daddy, what's in a crawl space?
That's a good question, Annie. I'm Cody Lovin with Crawl Space Medic. Musty smells, dampness, and sagging insulation means your crawl space or basement might need some attention. Our team quickly finds and fixes moisture problems, updates moisture barriers, and resolves structural issues, ensuring your home stays dry and comfortable. Don't let your crawl space problems affect your comfort, air quality, or property value. Visit crawlspacemedic.com.
A healthy home starts from the ground up.
Winter days have me dreaming of sunny, warm shores and great times with friends around the table. That's why I'm looking forward to teaming up with Colette and Peach State Bank and Trust to head to Portugal with you this fall. It's Bill Main inviting you to join us as we enjoy multiple nights in charming Porto and the amazing Algarve coast. We'll walk the cobblestone streets and cruise the scenic Douro River, from the colorful capital of Lisbon to the stunning whitewashed villages of the Algarve. We'll savor wonderful foods, bask on beautiful beaches, and even tour a family-owned cork factory. If you missed the recent informational meeting we had with Colette, fear not, it's not too late to find out more and to get signed up. All you need to do is log on to WDUNtravels.com for all the information. You can even sign up there. Or call Colette at 800-581-8942. Get your questions answered and then get on board with us September 28th as we head for Portugal.
Let me show you the world.
Presented by Colette, Peach State Bank and Trust, and North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, Gainesville is recovering from the aftermath of Monday afternoon's emergency landing of a plane on Brownsbridge Road. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
All righty, I hope I didn't overpromise and underdeliver on that first segment. I advertised it pretty heavily this morning that I was going to be talking about the transgender hoax. And in my opinion, I think I did pretty doggone good. So I hope you go back and listen to it on Facebook or at our website. All right. Well, you know, the thing about radio is you can't rest on your laurels. You got to go to the next thing. You got to be on your game again. And so I've got a great segment here with Dr. Douglas Young. Go to our YouTube site and hit on search Access WDUN. You can get the live feed, and you can see right now, you can see me and Dr. Douglas Young sitting at the desk, and we're about to talk about this very important article that he wrote. Let me set it up for you real quick, okay, just very quickly. Let me set this up. Several weeks ago, I had Dr. Young with me on the air. We received a call from one of our listeners. He was very much pro anti-ICE protesters. And when Dr. Young and I began to speak to him about the wrongness of the violence, I'm talking about the violence of the protesters, the caller insisted that, well, you got to have violence. There has to be violence. You can't just stand on the side of the road with a sign. That won't do any good. You have to have some type of penalty, some type of consequence, some type of violence. That was basically what he said. Well, Dr. Young took it on himself to speak to this person on the air about Martin Luther King Jr. and about how that was not part of his operation. And yet our caller did not really act like he wanted to pay much attention to that. So what did Dr. Douglas Young do? Professor Emeritus? He wrote an article. He researched and wrote an article entitled Anti-ICE Protesters Should Learn from Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement. And that particular article was picked up by our newspaper, but it was also picked up across the region, across the country. And many people are reading Dr. Douglas Young's comments. Let me share with you this one paragraph. I'm going to turn it over to him. But this is a genius paragraph. I asked Dr. Young, did you plagiarize this? This is really smart. I mean, this is really good. Now, I'm a big plagiarizer. I plagiarize everything, but Dr. Young didn't. This is his words. This is what he says. It was not just the civil rights movement's Judeo-Christian themes of love and brotherhood that helped convince Americans to reform, but the inspiring example of the civil rights demonstrators who conducted themselves with such dignity and remarkable restraint, even in the face of sometimes horrific violence against them. Great paragraph, good lead into your article. What made you write it?
First of all, Tom, thank you so much for having me here. It is always an honor and a joy to be at WDUN. I was really struck by how emotionally unhinged and physically unrestrained so many of the anti-ICE protesters have been, particularly in Minneapolis. And having grown up in the 1960s and 70s when the civil rights marchers of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Were fresh in the minds of the cult of people at that time, I just was really taken aback by what a stark contrast there was between these two different types of demonstrators. And for me, this nation owes the Reverend King and other civil rights marchers such a debt of gratitude, because when we were a far, far more racist society, when we had racial segregation laws across the country, and not just in the South, but all over the nation, we were so blessed that the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s was almost completely Judeo-Christian. And the civil rights movement was led almost entirely by Christian pastors who wanted to redeem a nation by following the example of Christ, the apostle of peace, the apostle of nonviolence. And so when we could have had a whole bunch of Malcolm X's and Black Panthers taking the leadership of that movement, no. These devout Christian ministers, they trained their marchers to always be dignified, self-disciplined, to follow Christ's example, to turn the other cheek. And it's incredible that in just over a decade, from the mid-1950s to the mid-1960s, through their peaceful, nonviolent example, they were able to literally reverse centuries of racism and Jim Crow segregation laws. And that was shocking.
Unlike the anti-ICE people today who are using violence and chaos.
Exactly.
You mentioned in your article, you said that each marcher of Dr. Martin Luther King had to respect the legal authorities and the rights of others. You said, Dr. Young, you wrote that Martin Luther King proclaimed, "Christ gave me the message, Gandhi gave me the method."
That's right, exactly. It's just incredible that these marchers in just over a decade were able to achieve what very few people thought was possible when the Reverend King began this movement in the mid-1950s. Even segregationists came to recognize that, you know what, these marchers, they're behaving in a really dignified manner. And the fact that the civil rights marchers of the 50s and 60s were so dignified, were so restrained, were so Christian in their behavior, when redneck bigots would be violent against them and would shout obscenities at them, that just made the segregationist cause look all the worse, and the marchers look all the better. And Reverend King said, you cannot drive out darkness with dark. Only light can do that. You cannot drive out hatred with hate. Only love can do that.
We'll be right back. I want to talk more about this article written by Dr. Douglas Young about what anti-ICE protesters could learn from Martin Luther King. I'm Tom Smiley. I'll be right back.
We're talking with Mike Robertson of Oakwood Tire and More. And Mike, I understand you guys have moved. Where can we find you?
3440 Mabry Road, which is right off of Mountain View.
Still offering the same services?
We won't be doing alignments, but we'll be doing tires. Tires, brakes, batteries, tune-ups, those kind of things that normal maintenance repair.
Sounds good. Give us the address one more time. Make sure we don't miss out.
You can find us at 3440 Mabry Road at oakwoodtire.com or even the same phone number, 770-535-0943.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it. But my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
There's no championship league for small business owners. But if there was, you'd be at the top of the standings. Because going pro with Lenovo Pro means you've got the winning formation. One-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors help you stay ahead of the competition. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10 o'clock.
ICE will soon get a lot of heat.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Acting Director Todd Lyons about to be under a lot of scrutiny, especially from Democrats at a House hearing about to start, as they insist on immigration enforcement reform, or else they'll block new funding for Homeland Security when money runs out Friday night. But Republican Congressman Lance Gooden tells Fox.
The big, beautiful bill that we passed last July fully funds and some the ICE operations that Democrats are so angry about.
Fox's Aisha Hosni reports.
Democrats still want those body cameras. They want masks to come off, and they want judicial warrants in their list of 10 demands. Schumer and Jeffries, the two Democratic leaders in the House and Senate, put out this statement. The initial GOP response is both incomplete and insufficient. Republicans say Democrats' demands are unserious.
A win in court for the Trump administration's deportation agenda.
A 3-judge Ninth Circuit Appeals Court panel has temporarily lifted a California federal judge's order that had blocked the Trump administration from ending temporary protected status, or TPS, for nearly 89,000 migrants from Honduras, Nepal, and Nicaragua.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. It is day 10 of the search for Nancy Guthrie and her daughter. Today Show host Savannah Guthrie says in a social media video they're reaching an hour of desperation.
We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where.
A second reported deadline passed yesterday and a ransom note sent to TV outlets, but we know of no contact with whoever kidnapped the 84-year-old from her Tucson, Arizona home. Police have not named a person of interest. At the Winter Olympics, the U.S. has won 3 medals this morning, giving the Team USA 5 in Italy so far. Alex Hall got silver in freestyle skiing, Ben Ogden silver in cross country, and in women's combined skiing, Jacqueline Wiles and Paula Moltzen took the bronze, finishing ahead of their more well-known American teammates Breezy Johnson and Michaela Schifrin. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
Good morning from the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom. I'm Steve Winslow. A small plane made an emergency landing in Gainesville Monday afternoon. As Gainesville Police Captain Kevin Holbrook says, this happened at around noon on Brownsbridge Road near the intersection of Pearl Nicks Parkway. While the plane did hit 3 vehicles during its landing, no one was killed and only 3 people were injured.
The fact that this pilot was able to navigate this plane down on this 5-lane roadway around the noon hour where you have hundreds, if not thousands of cars, and only strike 3 of them is really remarkable.
Captain Holbrook said the plane was trying to fly from Gainesville to another regional airport in Cherokee County. Following an altercation at a Lula area residence, 1 man remains in critical but stable condition. Another has been arrested. The suspect is 37-year-old Adam Scott McDaniel of Gainesville. He was arrested by Hall County Sheriff's Office following the Friday incident. The victim suffered a brain bleed and a broken jaw.
Due to the victim's condition, investigators have not been able to talk with that individual yet, so not a lot of detail as to what led up to this.
Hall County Sheriff's Office spokesman Derek Booth adds that the incident remains under investigation. McDaniel is being held without bond. 2 occupants of a car are injured during a fiery rollover wreck in Clark County Monday afternoon. Social media posts from Athens Clark County Fire Department shows the vehicle along the shoulder of Cleveland Road shortly after it struck a utility pole, which then triggered a grass fire and the vehicle fire during Monday's midday hours. No word on the extent of injuries to the unidentified car occupants. The officials have not listed what caused the rollover crash. Images from that crash scene can be found at Access WDUN. And currently, the package sale of liquor is not allowed in unincorporated Hall County, and that could change at the ballot box with a voter referendum. But the county commission decided to put the brakes on this decision to allow for public comment on the matter.
You can charge a business license fee of up to $5,000 per location. You can also charge a local 22 cents excise tax per liter of alcohol sold.
That was Hall County Attorney Justin Lawhon on the avenues for revenue if such a change were implemented. He estimates just 5 licensed stores in unincorporated Hall could net roughly $100,000. More news at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
Good Tuesday morning to you, North Georgia. It's a mix of clouds and sunshine, which will be followed by increasing clouds. Low 70s this afternoon. Warm. Cloudy skies, occasional rain showers, upper 50s by early Wednesday. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strenna.
Already warm in LJ with 48 degrees, in Sugar Hill 52, and in Gainesville 51 degrees. From North Georgia's News Talk AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
250 years of America, built one town, one voice, one unforgettable mile at a time. This year, as our nation celebrates its 250th birthday, Travel with Anita brings those stories to life with Quarter Miles Travel. We're sharing the places where history still breathes, communities that shape the country, and landscapes that remind us of who we are. But these aren't just stories to hear. There are places you can go, roads you can travel, experiences you can step into. Quarter Miles Travel connects you to real destinations, real people, and real journeys waiting for you. Listen to us on air, online, and wherever you get your podcasts. Then visit travelwithanita.com for itineraries, travel ideas, and places where your next story begins. The adventure starts when you reach into your pocket.
From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show. Talking the issues and filling in for Martha, it's Dr. Tom Smiley on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
Well, what a great show this has been. All right, everybody, let's do this. Everybody raise your left hand out there. I see those hands. Raise that left hand. Reach across your right shoulder and pat yourself on the back for listening to a great program today. How come I was the only one in the studio doing that exercise? I didn't see either one of y'all do it.
I have to do the audio levels. I got my hands full over here, Tom. I'm sorry. I would, but I have to make sure you guys sound good.
Okay, so we're talking to Dr. Douglas Young, and we got some other things to talk to him about. I love having Doug on with me. He's so informative. Someone said to me the other day, I think it was at church, said if they ever do brain transplants, I want his.
No, he doesn't, believe me.
But why do you suppose, you write in your article that too many anti-ICE protesters fail to prove they are motivated by the Christian virtues of love, doing unto others as you want them to do unto you, or humility? I mean, that is very accurate. I mean, Logan, in just a moment, will you key up that Antifa man that we played? Tee that up for us. I want Dr. Douglas Young to hear this lunatic who certainly isn't motivated by any Christian principle.
It just strikes me, Tom, when I look at footage of so many, not all to be fair, but so very many of these anti-ICE protesters, they are shouting profanities at the ICE officers, making obscene gestures at them, kicking their cars, being physically violent with them, spitting at them. I mean, the very antithesis of the disciplined, dignified, peaceful, Christ-like marchers of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. in the 1960s. And I think that these anti-ICE protesters, the violent ones, I think they're their own worst enemies. They could make such a far more positive impact on the viewers watching them if they acted like the civil rights marchers of the 1960s. They are, whatever the merits of the anti-ICE protesters' arguments, they are shooting themselves in the foot by behaving in such an unhinged, unchristian manner.
770-535-2911. That's our call and text line, 770-535-2911, if you'd like to send a text and or speak to this subject. All right, so Dr. Young, I want you to hear this. This is who I affectionately refer to him as the Antifa man. And in my opinion, I don't know the guy, I've never met him, but in my opinion, just Tom Smiley's opinion, this is a lunatic. And he certainly isn't motivated by what I would consider anything good. Let me get your take on this.
I'm Antifa, and everybody in my DMs and calling me and blowing me up, I love all of you. I understand that the women who see this are really scared that their husbands are going to go and not come back, and that's real, and I am very sorry, ladies, that is what is happening. But I don't understand how you're struggling to follow that they're going to keep killing us if we don't end this. And we can't end this without good men in the streets, armed and ready to protect innocent people from being gunned down by these masked murderers, these fascist occupiers. I need boots on the ground, and I need them prepared to do what needs to be done so that this does not cost more innocent lives. We do not have any more time to let this drag out. I know it sucks, but this is the Iron Front. It's an individual choice. There are no generals in this fight. Stand on your own two.
This guy's a lunatic.
It's sad, and I think that his example and the example set by so many of these anti-ICE protesters shows how tragically we are not remotely as Judeo-Christian a society as we were in the 1950s and 60s.
That's a great point. Say that again. That's a great point.
I think that as a culture, as a people, it pains me to say this, but we just are not remotely as Judeo-Christian a society as we were in the 1950s and 60s. I think it cannot be emphasized enough that these mostly black civil rights marchers of the 1950s and 60s, I mean, they could not use the same water fountain that you and I could drink from, Tom. Right. They couldn't use the same bathroom. They couldn't sit in the same side of the restaurant as we could. I mean, there was just, we had, by modern standards, an almost totally racist society. And Lord knows these civil rights marchers had a heck of a lot more to justifiably be angry about. But man, they conducted themselves, almost all of them, with such class and grace, and it was precisely their outstanding example of being such peaceful, committed Christians that persuaded a nation that they were right. And we reversed centuries of racism and Jim Crow in just a little over a decade. It's just remarkable. And it earned Reverend King the Nobel Peace Prize. And I think that if anybody wants to effect change, they really should study the wonderful example of the Reverend King. And to be fair, all these other fine Christian ministers like the Reverend Ralph David Abernathy, the Reverend Andrew Young, the Reverend Hosea Williams, the Reverend James Bevel, all these other ministers who led the civil rights movement. I mean, they, with the influence that they had over so much of black America, man, if they wanted to, they could have been violent. They could have led this nation down a terrible path. But to their eternal credit, they wanted to follow the example of Christ. And we were, thank God, still a Christian enough nation to where segregationists acknowledged, hey, you know what? These folks are right and we've been wrong. And even most segregationists repented.
You know, I think that's an interesting point, is that they were on the right side of history.
Yes.
They were. I mean, they were really fighting against something that was wrong.
Right, and un-American.
These anti-ICE protesters on the wrong side. I mean, we had Jim Lechner on. I had him on Monday or Tuesday, Newsmax reporter in the field in Minneapolis. I asked Jim Lechner, he's a colonel, retired. I asked him, did you come across anybody in the protest movement, anybody, that appreciated ICE's work in removing pedophiles, rapists, murderers, and assaulters? He said to me, no. All right, well, see, that's the wrong side of history. They're on the wrong side because Martin Luther King Jr. and the rest of the civil rights people, they were on the right side of something that needed to be changed.
Right.
These anti-ICE protesters, Dr. Young, they're protesting something that is wrong. We don't need to keep this type of immigrant in our country.
Right. The Reverend King and most of the other civil rights marchers weren't just devout Christians. They were deeply patriotic Americans. They loved this country. They loved the Constitution. They wanted Americans to live up to the Constitution, to enforce equal constitutional rights for all Americans, regardless of color. And so Reverend King taught his supporters to make sure you always respect the constitutional legal authorities and you never violate any rights of anyone else, just as we don't want our rights to be violated anymore. Two wrongs don't make a right. We have no right to violate anyone else's constitutional rights. But I'm afraid that these anti-ICE protesters are radical leftists who do not have much, if any, love for this nation, who do not care for the Constitution, who do not like freedom of speech. They want freedom of speech for themselves, but they tend to be very intolerant people. They don't tolerate free speech for others who disagree. I mean, and I think their violence shows that.
Tell us where, as we take our break here in a moment, tell folks where they can read your article if they didn't catch it in the Times. Several other local places have it. Talk about that for a moment. Some folks need to search that, Google that, and find this article.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Folks can read the essay at www.libertarianchristians.com, libertarianchristians.com, as well as at www.arizonadailyindependent.com, arizonadailyindependent.com.
I hope that you'll go back and pull that out, ladies and gentlemen, and look at that article written by Dr. Douglas Young, my guest today. All right, well, I've got his book where he has just tens and tens and tens of essays we could talk about. I have some other topics to talk to you about that I'd like to have his input on. So I'm not exactly sure where we're going to go for the next 40 minutes, but it will be good. So you should stay tuned. We'll be right back.
NASCAR gears up for the Great American Race with the America 250 Florida Duel at Daytona. Flag-to-flag coverage begins Thursday at 6 on North Georgia's home of NASCAR. AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Hi, I'm John Shackelford, Executive Director of Eagle Ranch. For families in the middle of a struggle, knowing what is needed and where to go for help can be hard. To support these families, we created First Step Counseling. This new program allows families looking for help to meet with an Eagle Ranch counselor to share their story and make a plan for healing and renewal before starting therapy. Counselors are standing by and ready to meet with you and your family in person within a few days, so no long wait list. And like all Eagle Ranch services, no one is turned away because of financial constraints. Schedule a call with our First Step team today by going to eagleranch.org.
Would you take advice on how to collect money from the folks that owe it to you? That's exactly what you do when you let an insurance company steer you to their contract shop. At Nichols Body Shop, we earn our customers one at a time. We depend on repeat customers and referrals to keep our shop busy. When you need a repair shop, please consider picking a shop that works for you. Nichols Body Shop in Flowery Branch, where the best sign of a quality repair is no sign at all. Find us on Facebook or call 770-967-8200.
Have you been driving 25 in a 55-mile-per-hour zone? Are your passengers concerned about your vision? Don't let glare at night or in the rain slow you down. Hi, this is Kim. Here at Advanced Eye Center, we offer all laser LASIK, clear lens exchange, specialty lenses with laser cataract surgery, as well as contacts and designer glasses. Our doctors handle a wide variety of vision problems for people of all ages and are skilled at providing fantastic solutions. Come see why we're voted best in Hall County year after year. Advanced Eye Center, vision correction for all ages.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. After my husband died, the last thing I wanted to think about was money. Ethos made it affordable to get life insurance. Signing up was fast and 100% online. I knew that I could pay our mortgage and have food in the fridge. I could focus on my kids. No one ever tells you how much you're going to depend on that policy. I am so grateful we had coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
America, look around. Everywhere you go, prices are still high, rates have been whipsawing markets, and the debt and spending don't exactly scream stability. Experts say diversifying with intention is the #1 secret account that all American smart money uses to hedge against instability. Monetary Gold has been around since 2000, witnessing multiple economic setbacks. If you call now, Monetary Gold will cover up to a lifetime of your IRA fees on qualified accounts. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, jury selection has begun in the trial for the father of the alleged Appalachia High School shooting suspect. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Well, Mr. Antifa Man. I don't want to gloat. I shan't gloat. But Mr. Antifa man that we just played, well, guess where he is? He's in the big house, ladies and gentlemen, because his words that I played you on this radio have been played all around this country, and he's in the big house for allegedly calling for the murder and assault of federal immigration officers. He has allegedly doxed and encouraged bloodshed in the streets, proudly claimed affiliation with a terrorist organization, Antifa, which, by the way, the Congressman Thompson, I believe, don't hold me to that, but he's the one that also asked Kristi Noem about the accidental shooting that occurred with the National Guards. Remember that? With the same congressman also asked a witness, where's Antifa's headquarters? There's no Antifa. Well, Mr. Antifa man is now in the big house, and it's no surprise. You can't go around calling for federal officers to be killed in the streets and challenging men to show up armed to protest your ideology. That is against the law. Load up the paddy wagon. Load it up. That's what I say. All right, well, there you go. Just interesting news.
You reap what you sow.
I think that's in the Bible.
Yes, sir.
All right, Dr. Young. Douglas Young, professor emeritus, has written several good books. Not all of them historical books, but some of them fun books. Some what do you call that, fiction?
Yes, sir.
And
thank you.
What's the one I read? The one
Deep in the Forest?
Yeah, that was a good book. Deep in the Forest. Yeah, that was a very good. I took that on a golfing trip with me.
Oh.
And I read it at night. During my golfing trip. It was a really good book, Deep in the Forest.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Had a great ending.
Thank you.
I loved it. All right, well, anyway, he has a book, another book, one of his first ones entitled This Little Opinion Plus $1.50 Will Buy You a Coke. It's a collection of essays. And in one of your essays, you write, the topic is Lessons from the Afghanistan Debacle.
Yes, sir.
Now, I know that's been a while, but nonetheless, there are some things we can learn from what Biden did so poorly. Tell me about this essay and how you came to write it.
In the summer of 2021, when we had our disastrous military withdrawal from Afghanistan, I was just flooded with memories from my childhood from 1975 when we withdrew militarily from South Vietnam in such a humiliating fashion. And I think that was the most humiliating moment of my childhood. And I was just livid that after we had spent hundreds and hundreds of billions of hardworking American tax dollars in Afghanistan, after we had been there for 20 years, after all the blood we had shed, thousands of lives lost of America's finest, we had to withdraw in such a degrading fashion. I believe 13 of America's finest were killed in that withdrawal and many more Afghanis. And it was just a completely incompetent operation. And it was just symptomatic of how completely incompetent our national leadership has been. Ned Ryan, a public commentator, referred to our credentialed idiocracy, in which he referred to how we have so many career bureaucrats and military brass and political leaders who are armchair warriors who have just demonstrated again and again that they don't know how to run a war. And after 20 years and all the sacrifices we made in terms of loss of life and tax dollars, we lost to the Taliban. And the people of Afghanistan were once again, especially the women, under the brutal rule of these really 7th century savages. It was just too much. And the fact that not one single government official was fired or demoted for that horrific catastrophe just symbolized how incompetence is rewarded, how these are career people who don't care. It doesn't matter whether their policies are successful. And I was just so ticked off that so many young people's lives had been sacrificed for nothing, for the political and military gain of the political and military elite class of Washington, D.C. And I was blessed to teach so many outstanding young men who had served in Afghanistan. Some of them were injured. One had a terrible brain injury. And to a man, Tom, these were such kind, decent Christian gentlemen. They never bragged about their service. They wouldn't talk about it unless you asked them. And to me, they had just been absolutely betrayed by the leadership of this nation.
You say in your book, This Little Opinion plus $1.50 will buy you a Coke. It's a collection of essays. It's a great book.
Oh, thank you.
You should really go Google it, ladies and gentlemen. But in this article, you say, and I quote, if anything good comes out of this Afghan debacle, hopefully it will be to convince more Americans how dangerously naive we are to try to impose a 21st century Western culture onto one firmly anchored to the 7th century. People don't realize the difference in cultures, do they?
I think, to be fair to most Americans, we're so blessed to live in the greatest nation in history, the freest, the most democratic, the most prosperous and opportunity rich. And it's such a huge country, and we're separated from almost all the rest of the world by the two biggest oceans on the planet. Most Americans, I don't think, ever travel abroad. Or if they do, maybe they'll go just on the other side of the Canadian or the Mexican borders, and that's it. And I've been very blessed to travel all over Europe and North America, the Caribbean, and China, and a little bit in South Korea. And the reality is that most of the world is intensely, deeply tribal. And most of the world doesn't operate like we do here in America. And that's okay. Would we want the Saudi Arabians or the Nigerians or the Chileans or the Koreans to impose their culture and their governmental ways on us? I don't think so. Different strokes for different folks. And I think that every nation's government is the inevitable outcome of that nation's history, religion, geography, and culture.
I wonder what would have happened and what the day would look like today if in Iraq we had subdivided that country into the three regions that was talked about. The Kurds up north, and then the Sunnis, and then the Shias.
Right.
Three distinct groups, geographically,
exactly,
all sharing the wealth of the resources. I wonder what that would look like today.
And as often as I've criticized President Joe Biden, I should be decent and praise him. He actually suggested that we do just that many, many years ago. And Iraq is an artificial country. It was created with a red pencil at the Palace of Versailles as part of the post-World War I peace treaty negotiations.
We'll be right back. It's going to be some more good discussion. Stay tuned. You're listening to Dr. Tom Smiley on the Martha Zoller Show with Dr. Douglas Young. Stay tuned.
It doesn't matter if you're a homeowner or running a business. Waste happens. Your go-to to make it go away? Waste Eliminator. They offer collection, disposal, recycling, and environmental services for business and home cleanout. Visit wasteeliminator.com. Click Order Dumpster, and before you know it, your dumpster is reporting for duty. Yep, it's that easy. Environmentally responsible and committed to customer service. It's Waste Eliminator. See them today at wasteeliminator.com.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu, medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday. let's do this Monday. ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
The Super Bowl's in the books. Now it's NASCAR's turn.
It is time to turn the intensity up. It is time to turn the green lights on.
It's the Daytona 500.
Here they come. Green and white. Checkered flag is out. Pay window is open, and Ryan Blaney's going to get there first.
Coverage begins Sunday at 1:30 on North Georgia's home of NASCAR. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10:30.
Fox News. I'm CJ Papa. President Trump claims
I think we have the greatest economy actually ever in history.
He told that to Fox's Larry Kudlow. The rest of the interview at 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox Business. But a new reading on the economy could counter the president's belief.
Retail sales for December came in flat, no increase. Shoppers were spending more the previous month. November retail sales increased by 0.6%.
That's Fox's Jenny Casola. Well, Democrats refused to fund DHS, shutting it down Friday night.
The two parties are still fighting over DHS reforms. Democrats still want those body cameras. They want masks to come off, and they want judicial warrants in their list of 10 demands.
White House correspondent Aisha Hosni, day 10 of the search for Savannah Guthrie's mom, Nancy, who vanished without a trace from her home in Tucson, Arizona. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. A plane makes an emergency landing on the west side of Gainesville Monday afternoon. The single-engine plane landed on Brownsbridge Road near Pearl Nicks Parkway around noon. One of the pilots, Thomas Rogers, said it lost one of its engines shortly after taking off from Lee Gilmer Memorial Airport.
Tried to glide back, did everything by the book, but realized we weren't going to make it back with how far out we were, so came down the road.
Plane hit 3 vehicles while landing. Several people were injured. 2 of those have already been treated and released, according to Gainesville officials. Trial for the father of the suspected Appalachia High School shooter began Monday with jury selections. More from WDUN's Lawson Smith.
Colin Gray faces 29 charges in Barrow County for allegedly allowing his son Colt access to the firearm believed to be used in the deadly shooting at the school in 2024. Colin's charges include 2 counts of felony murder and involuntary manslaughter and 19 counts of second-degree cruelty to children. The jury will be selected from Hall County, but the actual trial will take place at the Barrow County Courthouse.
And Gainesville officials have blocked a portion of Main Street following a Monday afternoon truck wreck by a parking deck near the library. No word from Gainesville police as of last report on what led to the crash, as Georgia State Patrol is investigating. No word of any injuries were reported. More news at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
Good Tuesday morning to you, North Georgia. It's a mix of clouds and sunshine, which will be followed by increasing clouds. Low 70s this afternoon. Warm. Cloudy skies, occasional rain showers, upper 50s by early Wednesday. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
Already warming up in the area. Tiger with 54 degrees, Decula 59, and in Gainesville 57 degrees. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Buying or selling real estate. We do so much more than just open doors. Buying a home encompasses a 180-item checklist. I'll be glad to share it with you. Our commission is our success fee. You need Norton now more than ever. I'm Frank Norton with the Norton Agency. Call us at 770-532-0022 or look for us on the web at gonorton.com. Our family serving North Georgia for 4 generations.
Nobody wants to talk about septic services until there's a problem.
We're here to help. At SNS Septic, we are here 24 hours a day to help when you need us.
As a 4th-generation business, we know that SNS Septic is the one to call for pumping, repairs, installations, and more. We cover residential, commercial, and government projects. If you have septic or plumbing problems, call us.
That's right. You can find us on the web at septicga.com.
Call SNS Septic today to set up an inspection of your system and have everything taken care of before it all hits the fan.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Welcome back to the Martha Zoller Show. I am Tom Smiley filling in for Martha. Having a great day today. I'm having a great day today. That's right. I am having a great day. And as soon as this show is over, I'm going to bust out the door, head to the golf course, and play 18 holes with 24 of my favorite friends.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to have a great day. And then, it's just good to have a good day, isn't it, Doc?
Yes, sir. Amen to that.
So, look, in your book, This Little Opinion Plus $1.50 Will Buy You a Coke. Great book. You should Google it.
Thank you.
But you in 1992, you wrote an essay about Bill Clinton's skeletons in the closet.
Right.
Okay, that's 1992.
I'm getting old.
You must be clairvoyant because in 2026 he's in the news today for some of those skeletons. So tell us what you wrote about then and what you think now.
What I was writing about then was his very active extracurricular life behind.
That's putting it very kindly.
Things that he had a long history of engaging in that Mrs. Clinton didn't always know about. I want to keep things G-rated. I know this is a family-friendly show. And my views on Bill Clinton are, I hope, somewhat nuanced. I think, as a political scientist, he is one of the most enormously talented political leaders in modern American history. I think that when I think of the best public speakers I have heard in my lifetime, they would be FDR. Now, obviously, he came before my time, but I've been blessed to hear many of his recordings. I think also Jack Kennedy was a phenomenal public speaker, as was Ronald Reagan. And I would add to their company Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is also an exceptionally intelligent man. He's a Rhodes Scholar. He is the rare politician who's not just a magnificent public speaker, but he's great, not just wholesale, but retail, one-on-one with people. You know, Jimmy Carter was not a great speaker, but Carter could really wow people one-on-one and in a small room, in a small group of people. Well, Clinton is great one-on-one, before a big crowd, on television, you name it. And Clinton is a very savvy political operator. And I will say, hey, I think Bill Clinton is a patriot. I think he loves this country. And I think he did a lot of good as president. I mean, we had a wonderful economy during his administration. Bill Clinton signed the Republicans' welfare reform law that I think was very positive. He did a lot of good things. But I think that he's somebody who is so talented, is so suave, is so skilled, has such a silver tongue that I think that he has a very healthy ego, and his whole life he's basically been able to get away with a lot of sleazy activities. And I don't think that someone like that, unless he has a real come-to-Jesus moment, is going to change.
What about the present-day skeletons of the Epstein files?
Right.
I mean, well, first of all, what do you make about the Epstein files? If you were writing an essay today about the Epstein files situation, what would some of your thoughts be? I know I'm hitting you cold with that, but to be perfectly honest with you, Doug, I just don't even care. You know, I mean, those men are going to have to answer to God Almighty for their abuse of these children and minors and women. And I do wish and hope that they would find consequence of penalty of law.
Right.
But as far as making a big political issue out of it, I don't know that it's there.
I'm reminded of something that Bill O'Reilly said a long time ago, that the powerful protect themselves. And I agree with you. I want every man and every woman, like Ghislaine Maxwell, who participated in any kind of human trafficking, any kind of underage sex.
Grooming.
Right. I want them to be punished to the max. But my sense is, and I don't know this, but my spidey sense tells me that these very powerful people who went to Epstein's private island, who engaged in this kind of obscene activity, my sense is they're going to get away with it. I think that there are a lot of powerful people in both parties who want to bury this. But you're right. They will have to answer for it one day.
You know, it was interesting. On the news today, I heard Comer talking about the fact that Maxwell pleaded the fifth during much of her
congressional testimony.
Right, pleaded the fifth. But she did send word and said, now these are Comer's words, if you'll give me clemency, I'll speak the truth of what I know, and it will clear Bill Clinton and Donald Trump.
Okay.
So, I mean, how much of that do you even trust? I mean, would you even trust that? I mean,
I just don't know. It's remarkable the things that some people can do and sleep soundly about. I mean, I hate to be overly cynical, but I think there is some truth to, well, let me put it this way. When I read about a number of presidents and very powerful people high up in the business world, I think it's sad that a lot of super successful people, professionally successful people in this life, are folks who can and do and have stepped on a lot of innocent toes and slept very soundly about it. Yeah. I remember hearing a lady reporter who covered President Kennedy talk about how she thought that President Kennedy led the most compartmentalized life she had ever known. He would wake up in the morning and he would go to the breakfast table in the White House with Jackie and Caroline and little John, and he would just be the ideal family father figure, you know, great husband, great dad, and then he'd close that door and he'd walk into the Oval Office and he'd be a great president. And then he would close that door and he'd be a great a politician, great fundraiser. And then he'd close that door, and for lunch, he'd go down into the basement to the White House pool with a nude fiddle and faddle, and he would be the playboy. And then when word would get back that Jackie's coming back to the White House, he'd give his martini to a Secret Service agent. He'd get dressed, and he'd be the good husband again. And he did that seamlessly. And I remember when I heard her talk about this in a documentary on Kennedy, at first I thought, wow, President Kennedy was just amazing. Man, I wish I could be like that. And then I realized, oh my God, the president is a psychopath.
We'll take a quick break and we'll come back to finish up some conversation with Dr. Douglas Young. Hey, folks, you can Google him. Just Google Dr. Douglas Young, and you'll find him in the first page or so, and check out his books and many of his resources. If you're looking for a great speaker, by the way, at some of your civic clubs or some of your church groups or some of your political associations, he'd be an outstanding speaker as well. So I hope that you'll do that. Google Dr. Douglas Young.
Thank you so much.
Easy to find.
You should be my agent, Tom.
I should be.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't sell books. I can give them away.
I should give you a commission.
You can sell them. We'll be right back. Tom Smiley filling in for Martha. Martha will be back Monday, and we are grateful for her good health. She's doing well, and we look forward to her being back on the air Monday. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
All the updates on the way home.
Afternoons move faster with the essential updates you need.
Your show is just so informative.
It's The Drive at 5, weekdays on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
This is Nick
and Laura from
Nichols Body Shop. We want you to know it's your choice who repairs your vehicle.
Do not assume you can get the best repair for the cheapest price.
Every shop is different.
We work for you, our customer, to give you the best repair possible.
Learn more by calling 770-967-8200 or come by the shop. Estimates are always free.
You can also find us on Facebook at Nichols Body Shop,
the home of quality repairs
and old-fashioned service.
Serving on a nonprofit board is a great way to have a positive impact on our community. United Way of Hall County is helping leaders maximize that impact with their annual Board 101. It teaches the fundamentals of board service, helping to make your service more effective. This series of 3 workshops takes place February 24th, March 3rd, and March 10th from 5:30 until 7 each evening. For more details and to register for Board 101, head to unitedwayhallcounty.org and help build a better community.
Matt Hayes here from Hayes Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac in Baldwin. Check out the new savings event here at Hayes. 2026 Chevy Trax for only $24,990. 2025 Chevy Suburbans for $11,000 off MSRP. Or best of all, a 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500, $10,000 off MSRP, including trades assistance rebate. Ask about our free lifetime powertrain warranty and come check out these deals and more at Hayes Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac in Baldwin.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. After my husband died, the last thing I wanted to think about was money. Ethos made it affordable to get life insurance. Signing up was fast and 100% online. I knew that I could pay our mortgage and have food in the fridge. I could focus on my kids. No one ever tells you how much you're going to depend on that policy. I am so grateful we had coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
America, look around. Everywhere you go, prices are still high, rates have been whipsawing markets, and the debt and spending don't exactly scream stability. Experts say diversifying with intention is the #1 secret account that all American smart money uses to hedge against instability. Monetary Gold has been around since 2000, witnessing multiple economic setbacks. If you call now, Monetary Gold will cover up to a lifetime of your IRA fees on qualified accounts. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, more time is needed before Hall County residents get a chance to vote on allowing package sales of liquor in unincorporated Hall County. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Well. It's good to get text. 770-535-2911. And you know, if your text is worthy, I shall read it. If it's not worthy, I shan't. And the best way to get it read is to say something complimentary about the fill-in host. That always helps. I do have a texter who texted me a 4366 number. He said, Dr. Tom, are you playing from the transgender tees today in golf? No. No, I don't think we have those. But if we did and they were closer, I have no pride.
Do you get to play from the senior tees?
I do. Ah. Yeah. I do play from the up tees.
Okay.
We call them the gold tees, as opposed to the red tees of the ladies.
Or the old tees.
Yeah, that's right. Here's another one from Lisa, 6634 number. I know I say it every time, but I really love it when you and Dr. Young are on. I could listen to both of you all day long. So very intelligent and insightful. Now, I don't know if she's talking about me or you there, but we'll take it as a dual compliment. And that's from Lisa in Gainesville. Thank you, Lisa.
Many thanks, Lisa.
Yeah, appreciate that. Text 770-535-2911. Hey, I'll be back with you tomorrow. If the hook doesn't come, so far the doors have been barricaded, the windows are covered. Management can't get in. So I think I'm safe to say I'll be back with you tomorrow. Martha will be back with you on Friday. All right, so here is Milton Friedman.
Dr. Friedman.
And you know him, of him.
Yes, he was a legendary professor of economics for years and years at the University of Chicago. He won the Nobel Prize for economics, I think, in 1976. He's one of my heroes. I love to lecture about him.
So here is an audio clip from him talking about, he asked the question, why do welfare programs with noble objectives produce disappointing results? So listen to this, and I want to get your take on it.
Okay.
Why is it that such noble objectives lead to such disappointing results? After all, the objective of promoting the welfare of the ordinary man, of eliminating poverty and disease, providing security for old age and against mishaps of fortune, those are noble objectives. I do not believe that there is anybody who can regard them as undesirable. Why is it that the attempt to effectuate such noble objectives by using the machinery of government tends to produce results which are so disappointing. In my opinion, the fundamental answer is very simple. Using government to achieve these objectives means trying to do good with someone else's money. And when you try to do good with someone else's money, there are two basic flaws in the process. The first of those is that nobody spends somebody else's money as carefully as he spends his own. And therefore you are going to have waste and ultimately fiscal catastrophe. But the second is that you cannot do good with someone else's money unless you first take it away from them. And therefore, force, coercion, sending a policeman around to pick somebody else's pocket.
That's very insightful.
I agree.
Maybe the Somalian fraudsters should have been aware of that particular comment. So what do you know about the economist Friedman?
He was a great libertarian economist, and he was extremely influential. Dr. George Will, the historian and Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist, wrote a long time ago, I think it may have been his column that came out after Dr. Friedman had died, and he wrote that Dr. Friedman was one of the most consequential public intellectuals of our time. Dr. Friedman had a real impact in getting rid of the draft. Dr. Friedman is one of the originators of the choice schools movement, that parents should have the freedom to choose what school to send their children to. Dr. Friedman wanted the tax code to be revolutionized to make it so much simpler. He said that every American should be able to fill out his taxes on a postcard. And Dr. Friedman wanted as little government spending as possible, as few government regulations as possible.
Was he ever involved in a political party or a particular political office, or something?
He was profoundly influential with Ronald Reagan, with Reagan's tax cuts and deregulation efforts. He also had a big impact on Lady Margaret Thatcher, who was Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from May of 1979 to November of 1990. He also had a huge impact on Chilean President and General Augusto Pinochet in Chile, who ruled Chile from 1973 to 1990. All these people instituted a lot of Dr. Friedman's reforms. For example, in Chile, President Pinochet, he privatized the Social Security system in Chile, like Dr. Friedman prescribed. In fact, Dr. Friedman headed up what was known as the Chicago School of Economics, and a bunch of his professors, economic professors, went down to Santiago, Chile, and helped advise the Chilean government, and Chile became the most prosperous economy in all of Latin America in the 1970s and 80s. And so Dr. Friedman he is probably the most prominent, successful, highly regarded capitalist economist, I would say, since Adam Smith in the 1700s.
So what do you think about his two observations, that the reason noble things aren't being done, is because you can't use somebody else's money to do it, and if you do, you got to take it from them? I mean, that's pretty common sense. That's pretty simple.
Yes, exactly. I'm reminded of what Texas U.S. Senator Phil Gramm said way back in the 1990s. Imagine if we had, if our groceries were insured like our health care is insured. Man, if we knew that going to the grocery store, most of what we got was going to be paid for by insurance, well, we'd all be buying steak and lobster tail. And I mean, our diets would be vastly different. So yes, if you're using someone else's money, you don't have remotely the incentive to economize, to be fiscally restrained, to be responsible. People always waste other people's money, and that also invites a lot more temptation to engage in fraud and abuse.
Rush Limbaugh used to always say that the reason that these liberals are like they are is because they don't really care about the outcome. They just want to feel good. And
Yes.
it just feels good to, quote, help somebody. But when you forget that you're helping with someone else's money that you've taken, maybe that's not the right thing. Here's a word from Wesley Hunt. It just talks about common sense. Listen to this.
Let me get this straight. You have somebody that broke federal law by entering this country illegally, and then they harmed and or maimed an American citizen. They got put in prison, and so they're here illegally. They are in prison, and who's paying for this? The American taxpayer is paying for somebody who is illegal that is in prison, and then now we want to make sure that they go back to their country of origin. That is simple common sense. What I have discovered in this world is that, especially in terms of Democrats and liberals, is that common sense is simply not so common. They should have been cooperating with this administration from the very beginning. And I always harken back to the Obama days. He used ICE, but yet nobody did anything and no one said anything because he was a Democrat. And so now that we have the Trump administration in office, now you want to fight this administration tooth and nail in order to score some political points going into the midterm election. So again, I'm glad they are finally coming around to this idea of going into jails and getting illegal immigrants out of prison to stop maiming and harming our fellow Americans. But this should have happened from the very beginning.
Now, he's talking about common sense in regards to immigration, but whether it's common sense like Friedman talks about it, there's a lot to be said for common sense.
Absolutely. I think more harm has been done by intellectuals, by the intellectual class, by a lot of professors than any other profession in America or the world. I mean, so many intellectuals are living in a complete ideologically, hermetically sealed bubble, and they are so removed from reality. And I forget who said it first, but I think it's true. It's very easy to be, quote, compassionate, end quote, with other people's money. And when we take too much money away from hardworking folks who've earned it and give it to, in many cases, not all, but in many cases, to people who are not working hard, who are not earning it, we are disincentivizing hard work. We are perverting our priorities in this country. And Dr. Friedman also said that you cannot have a welfare society with open borders because that will encourage too many people to break into the country to get on easy welfare, and it will disincentivize work, and it will cause a lot more cynicism and anger in the society. And Elon Musk has talked about toxic empathy. You know, empathy generally is good, even great. But when it's misplaced, when people are empathizing with these immigration criminals, people who are child molesters, murderers, rapists, I mean, it is grossly misplaced.
You know, that's a great point. And I'm going to have to get you back when I'm on for Martha again next month. And we're going to talk specifically about immigration. And I want you to come back. This is your assignment, Professor.
All
I'm
right.
giving you an assignment.
Okay.
I want you to come back with some specific ideas. If you could put them in legislation that would work to fix the problem. So that's your assignment.
Okay.
We'll get together next month.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right. I'll see you all tomorrow. I'm Tom Smiley filling in for Martha. Dr. Douglas Young has been with me today. Great show. Go find the show and listen.